Next, ladies and gentlemen, we are excited to have our first cooking demonstration. In 2026, he received his 21st consecutive Michelin star. And I know a lot of these people in the audience today. Yeah, give that a round of applause for sure. He is the director of food and beverage, executive chef of Lucknow Park and Wild Garden Restaurant. Today, he brings us a culinary demonstration inspired by Welsh cuisine. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm, warm welcome to Chef Hywel Jones.
Good morning, everyone. Croeso Casnewydd. So, just a little bit about myself. Obviously, I work at a hotel called Lucknow Park now, which is just outside Bath. But I'm from Newport, born and bred in Newport. Became a chef, obviously, moved to London when I was 18. But the dream was always to move back to Newport so I could raise my kids here. Hopefully one day one of them would have played rugby for Wales. Didn't quite happen. But today, I'm delighted to be part of this Congress. I'm going to cook a little dish that we got on the Lucknow Park, or something which represents the style of food we do at Lucknow Park. It's all about the ingredients. Simplicity. My style of food is not about overcomplicating stuff. It's about choosing the right quality ingredients in the first place, and then treating it with respect, basically. In Wales, we are absolutely blessed with some of the best produce in the world. So if I just talk you through some of the ingredients we're going to use today. So we're going to start on the two key ingredients today. We've got some beautiful Pembrokeshire sea bass. So line caught. Came into me yesterday. We've got some beautiful Pencloud cockles. Wales is very famous for cockles down in Pencloud. So we're going to pair those together, and then we're going to simply serve it with some Wye Valley asparagus. So the Wye Valley is just on the border. It's up by Hereford, on crossover of Wales and England. Again, bang seasonal, coming to the end of the season now, but still perfect. And we're going to garnish our dish with some sea vegetables. So we've got some selection of little sea vegetables I actually picked from, if you've got the Severn estuary that runs alongside, just dividing Wales and England. So you go along there, you get loads of sea vegetables along there. So this dish pretty much is very, very local, all about Welsh produce. So we're going to start off by simply steaming the cockles, and then we're going to make a little sauce with that. You'll have to excuse me, I've only seen this kitchen about 10 minutes ago. So we're going to put about 6 or 8 of the cockles in there. All we're going to do, as you all know, is just lightly steam them, just so they open up, pick the shells out. Then in another pan, we're going to cook our white asparagus. So when we cook white asparagus, if I can find a knife. With a knife. So when we prep the white asparagus, we peel it. Then with all the trimmings from it, or the peelings, we make a white asparagus stock, and then we turn that into a white asparagus cooking liquor. So there's the clams, literally seconds, just till they've opened. I'm going to put a few shallots in there. And then let that infuse. Oops. So the white asparagus stock is coming up. So like I said, it's the stock from the white asparagus, and then we mix it with, acidulate it with lemon to keep the color, sugar, salt. So I'm going to cook the tips. So when we peel it, we take the stalk off, which goes into the stock. The peelings go in the stock. The stem of the asparagus, we turn into like a little choucroute or julienne. So we'll use that. So we're using all of the asparagus, not wasting anything. And then we're going to use basically the stock off the cockles and off the white asparagus to make the sauce for this dish. So the sauce will be basically a white asparagus and Pencloud cockle sauce, and then we're going to emulsify some smoked butter into it, which just gives a richness to the dish. So like I said, my philosophy about food is always, if you've got the best ingredients you can, you don't really need to do that much with them. So I'm going to pass off the stock from the cockles. And we'll pop those into a little container over there. We'll pick them in a minute. So the asparagus we're cooking until it's just tender. So we'll take a little bit of this stock into our poaching pan. And the remainder of that, I'm just going to pop in the chucroute. So we're not wasting any of that asparagus then. And then onto the sea bass. You'll have to excuse me if I'm working a bit messy, so if I was at the hotel and the boys were doing this, I'd be giving them stick. So we're going to lightly season this with a little bit of Hywel and salt. Bring that asparagus all the way down. While that's happening now, I'm going to make the sauce. So we'll bring basically a classic kind of beurre blanc. So make the reduction to intensify the flavor. So for me, there's going to be, how many elements on this plate? You've got your main proteins, the sea bass, the cockles, then a key sauce and a simple garnish. So that's something, I know you've got the great Marco Pierre White with you tomorrow. So I was fortunate enough to work for Marco at 2 of his establishments. I started with him at Harvey's, which was over in Wandsworth. Then I moved on to work for him at the Mandarin, where he got his 3rd Michelin star. But I saw the style of his food change a lot. From Harvey's was very, well, both kitchens were intense, but Harvey's was very full-on food, whereas I think Marco got to a stage in his career and he found a style where he used to say to everyone, he used to say to us all, it's all about focus on 1 or 2 things. The main protein, a simple garnish, which complements the protein, and then a sauce, a banging sauce. And I think sauce is probably what a lot of people, or a lot of young chefs these days neglect. You forget the importance of an absolute banging sauce. Not sure if these pans are connecting. Well, while that's happening, we're going to quickly pick out the cockles. We'll give the fish a couple of seconds in the oven. I'll use one of these fans, I know what I'm doing with that. Right, so for the sea vegetables, we've got a little sea purslane. We've got some sea beet, and like I said, they're actually picked in Newport. There's a place in Newport called Gold Cliff, which is on that estuary. And I've just made, we pick all the little small beet leaves out, and then out of the bigger ones, we make basically an oil. So we're just going to dress the sea veg with that. I'll pick some of my cockles out. 1, 2. Going to use just a touch of cream in a second, just to emulsify the butter. So the butter we buy from a dairy up in Gloucestershire, so it's not actually Welsh, but it's reasonably close. So it's called ampersand. So it's a cultured butter, absolutely incredible. And then I get a guy who does our smoked salmon for us. So he smokes it for me. Whisk, whisk, whisk. Whisk. So just making that reduction to intensify the flavor. And then we'll get ready to plate. So I'm going to finish this dish with a little Ossetra caviar. So as that's coming down, I can take my white asparagus onto garnish tray. We've got the choux-croute ready to go. A little touch of cream just to help the sauce emulsify before we start adding the butter. So the sea bass, we're going to finish out with some of the smoked butter as well. A touch more of the salt at this stage. And then we're looking for that kind of core temperature of about 38, 40. Flip that over. Give it a little baste. Swap those around, turn that down. Then we'll whisk some more butter into our sauce. I'm going to heat the cockles back up through the sauce. Keep basting our fish. So we're just looking for that beautiful golden crust. Like I said, that core temperature. Now we're almost ready to start plating. So we'll go a couple of white asparagus on one side. Then with the asparagus choux-croute, that'll just go on the opposite side. The clams we dress over the asparagus on either side. Right, to finish the dish, we've got a sea buckthorn puree. So that's just going to add a little bit of sweetness, a bit of acidity to the dish to cut through the richness. Then we'll dress our sea veg, which has been dressed. So we've got the purslane leaves, little baby sea beet leaves. And then the bass sits opposite. And then we'll finish the dish with the sauce and the caviar. We'll split that sauce with a little bit of the CB oil. Where's the best place so you can see that? And then we'll just literally, so this would be obviously done table side, we'll dress the sauce over the asparagus. So that's all the flavor from the white asparagus, the cockles, and the sea vegetables. There you go. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Sure. That good? Thank you. And excuse me for trying to get used to the stove, you know what it's like. We're all chefs. Good? Thank you. Diolch.
Thank you so much, Chef. If you can join us back on stage, please, that would be wonderful. Another round of applause, please, for Chef Hywel. As we mentioned before, you know, we're so blessed. I know all of you have an idea what it takes to get a Michelin star, but we only have an idea, right? How much work and how much hours and how much passion it takes. So we're so blessed to have Chef Hywel here. So